Legacy turning into discipline. After Steve Jobs, his legacy stopped being emotional memory and become structured discipline. Companies didn't just admire him, they study him. His methods, focus, simplicity, ruthless prioritization were converted into systems, frameworks, and business models. What once came from instinct now become a repeatable mindset across industries. Steve Jobs' influence evolved from inspiration to instruction. His way of thinking became a rule book for innovation, proving that vision can outlive intuition when embedded correctly. Innovation as responsibilities. Jobs changed the idea that innovation is optional. He showed the world that creators have a responsibility to improve human experience, not just sell products. This shifted innovation from new features to better lives. Innovation after Steve Jobs was no longer about speed or competition, it was about purpose. His philosophy raised the moral standard of creativity itself. Failure reframed forever. Steve Jobs normalized failure as a phase, not verdict. His public fall from Apple and triumphant return become the world's most powerful example that failure can be preparation rather than punishment. Failure stopped being shameful and become strategic. Jobs taught generation that setbacks are often the only path to clarity and mastery. The rise of founder lead thinking. After Steve Jobs, founders stopped trying to look like executives and started embracing their authentic, sometimes uncomfortable personalities. Vision became more valuable than polish. Steve Jobs validated the idea that leaders don't need to fit molds, they need to protect ideas. Founder lead vision become a respected leadership style globally. Technology becomes intimate. Before Steve Jobs, technology served tasks. After Jobs, it served identity. Devices become extension of personality, creativity, and emotions. Steve Jobs permanently humanized technology. He made interaction emotional, intuitive, and deeply personal, changing how humans relate to machines. Simplicity wins the future. Complexity lost its status. Simplicity became intelligence across industries. Minimalism replace access and clarity replace noise. Steve Jobs proved that simplicity is not reduction, it is refinement. This idea reshaped design, communication, branding, and even education. The standard of excellence rose. Good enough quietly disappear from serious innovation. Steve Jobs raised the global expectation of quality, forcing competitor to improve or disappear. Excellence become the baseline, not the exception. Jobs permanently raise the bar for what consumer expect from creators. Education beyond classroom. Steve Jobs became a teacher without formal lessons. His speeches, interviews, and decisions form a global curriculum on creativity, courage, and focus. Learning moved beyond institution. Steve Jobs taught millions without ever standing in a classroom, proving impact matter more than credential. Creativity as core identity. After Jobs, creativity stopped being limits to artists. Engineers, marketers, doctors, and entrepreneurs began identify as creator. Steve Jobs dissolved the boundary between logic and imagination. Creativity became a universal skill, not a niche talent. Modality as motivation. Steve Jobs' acceptance of death transformed how people view time. Life became urgent, meaningful, and intentional. That was no longer fear, it became fuel. Jobs taught that awareness of mortality sharpens purpose instead of making it. Product as stories. Products stopped being object and started becoming narratives. Packaging, launches, and experience told stories become connected it. Jobs show that humans don't buy things, they buy meaning. Storytelling becomes central to innovation. Vision over data. While data guides decision, Jobs prove vision leads them. He trusted intuition. When data didn't exist yet, the world learned that breaking through innovation often comes before evidence. Vision creates data, not the other way around. The courage to say no. Jobs' greatest strength was refusal. Saying no to thousands of ideas protected the few that mattered. Focus became power. Jobs taught that progress depends more on elimination than addition. The infinite influence loop. Each generation rediscovers Steve Jobs differently through products, quotes, failure, and dreams. His influence doesn't make fade. It renew. Job exists in cycles of rediscovery, not timelines. From man to mindset. His Steve Jobs ultimately transformed from a human story into a universal mindset. He is no longer just a member, he is practiced in every bold idea, discipline, focus, and refusal to settle. Steve Jobs continue to live. Curiosity as a lifetime skill. Steve Jobs showed that curiosity is not childish, it is professional. He never stopped asking basic questions, even at the highest level of success. This mindset encourage generation to stay learners, not just achievers. Curiosity become our discipline after Jobs. The willingness to ask why and what if turned into a lifelong advantage, reshaping how innovation taught and practice. Trusting taste before trends. Steve Jobs believed that people often don't know what they want until they see it. Instead of following trends, he trusted taste, his refined sense of quality and experience. This approach taught creators to lead markets rather than chase them. Taste, when turned trained and product, become more powerful and more research alone. The art of waiting. Steve Jobs knew when to delay launches until product feels right. Spend never replace reliance. Patience emerged as a competitive advantage. Jobs show that waiting can be strategic, not weak when quality is the goal. Building teams, not just products. Through demanding jobs surrounding himself with exceptionally talented people and push them to grow beyond their limits. His leaderships proved that extraordinary results come from collective excellence, not solo genius. Talent flourish under high expectation. Emotion as design data. Jobs consider feeling, delight, frustration, wonder as valid design inputs. This legitimized emotional response as measurable value. User experience become emotional. Experience redefine product success. Courage over comfort. 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 Jobs often choose unpopular paths. Risk was not avoided, it was respected. Comfort stopped being the goal of leaderships. Courage became the end. Courage became the real currency of progress. Focus in an age of distraction. Steve Jobs operated in deep focus long before distraction became a global problem. His discipline inspired modern creators to protect attention as a finite resources, recognize focus as form of power, intuition as intelligence. Jobs treated intuition as a serious form of intelligence shaped by experience. This validated gut feeling when grounded in deep understanding, restoring balance between logic and instinct. Saying no as a creative act. Jobs famously said no more than yes. Refusal became an act of creation. Limitation sharpen innovation instead of restricted. Excellence as respect for users. Steve Jobs' belief mediocre products disrespected users' time and trust. Quality become ethicals, not option. Excellence was framed as responsibility toward humanity. The power of storytelling. Product launches become events, not announcement. Jobs taught the world that stories move people more than specification. Communication become an art form, simplifying complexity for humanity. Jobs fought complexity to protect users from unnecessary effort. He proved that true intelligence lies in making the complex feels simple, not in showing difficult. Leaving space for the future. Steve Jobs designed products that could involve flexibility become a hidden strength, allowing innovation for continue long after his presence. Rewriting corporate culture. Jobs rejected traditional corporate behavior. Culture became a living system, centered on purpose, not hierarchy, influencing modern startup and enterprise alike. Learning from Eastern philosophy, Zen Buddhism influenced Jobs' thinking on simplicity and presence. Eastern thought quietly shaped Western technology, proving wisdom can cross culture boundaries, accepting imperfection in humanity. Late in life, Jobs acknowledged personal flaws. This humanized placement, greatness, imperfection become compatible with impact. Teaching through example. Jobs taught by doing our instructing. His behavior became the lesson. Leadership turned demonstrative rather than declarative. The long view of innovation. Steve Jobs built for decades, not quarters. Short term thinking lost credibility. Long term vision becomes strategic strength, creating meaning, not dependency. Jobs wanted user empowered, not trap. Technology shifted from control to collaboration, changing ethical design, discussion, resilience as identity. Steve Jobs rebuilt himself multiple times. Resilience became an identity, not a reaction. Reinvention was normalized. Silence and signal. Jobs value quiet thinking time. Silence was reframed as productive space, not absence of work. Inspiring through absence. Even without his voice, his philosophy guided decision. True leadership persists without process, proving depth over dependency. A blueprint for future. Creators. Jobs left a framework, not instruction. Freedom replaces limitation. Creative thrive through interpretation, not copyright. Freedom replaces imitation. Creativity thrives through interpretation, not copying. From innovation to identity, innovation become personal identity for many. Job help people see creation as self-expression, not just output. Infinity through influence. Steve Jobs' impact is not okay. It multiplies. When idea become mindset, when ideas become mindset, they escape time. Steve Jobs exists wherever people choose to think differently. Steve Jobs did not teach what to build, he taught how to think, and thinking has no final chapter.